Hello, White. Are you there? Hello, White. Mike.
John, can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
Pretty good, John. How are
Listen,
you doing?
Zoom had a big security breach. So they changed their system. So now you need a password, the link, and the ID number.
Oh, okay.
I think we're gonna need 15 minutes so I can let everyone know, okay?
Sure. So I'll be around. You let me know when I'm ready, when you are ready, and I'll join in.
Yeah, about 15 minutes. I'll just tell the people. I'll post it on social media. Okay?
Done.
Hey,
I'll be
Marco.
here. Hey, Marco. Good to see you.
Hey, John. Hi, Ayappa. How are you guys?
I'll be back, Marco. I just gotta let the people
15 minutes.
know that things have security breach at Zoom. So they're changing the system. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay.
Hello, John. 쏘나요?
Hello,
Hello, 쏘나요? How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Hello,
Good.
Young Hung.
Yeah,
How are you?
We are all-
nice to meet you, John.
Hey, good to see you.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
very
you.
much.
I
So
cannot
Zoom
see.
changed, everybody. That's why we have
It's good.
time.
Okay.
So I'll be back. We start a little late, okay? In about 10, 15 minutes.
Hey.
'Cause I gotta let everybody know. They change.
Bang, good to see you, man.
Yeah, Zoom have a big problem. So, okay, I'll be back.
Good,
Good to see you, Wang.
good to hear.
Hello, Wang.
Hi. Hello.
Wang, we have to publish now. We have to publish our Srinastomi because Parthiban is publishing his Indian experience now. A lot of people in India have started doing the surgery. So now about the European series, Lausanne has started. Many other people are interested. And South America also, many people are starting to wonder how to do it. So now we have to publish.
Oh,
Uh,
Mhm.
So this is very important right now. So maybe with your PowerPoint presentation was excellent. So maybe you should go ahead and publish that, please.
I also want to write a review about cystoscopy. Actually, cystoscopy can used in brain trauma, hemorrhage, and brain infection, and aneurysm. So they can cystoscopy can use widely in neurosurgery. It's good.
Yeah, we can write something on those lines, and maybe we will. I am thinking about getting my Indian colleagues, the senior guys, to help them with the juniors, so that they can start doing the basic skull-based work and get into the systems. You know, it's this is something that is not being trained for the neurosurgeons right now because they consider this as part of skull-based training. It is really not skull-based. So we just have to teach them. I mean, instruct the seniors who already know how to do it. I mean, they just have to teach their juniors for doing this.
Andrew.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Andrew.
Hey, Andrea. See you,
Andrew.
man.
Mhm.
Here is a guy who's already done a cystoscopy and he's a resident.
Mm.
Well, I guess we can, to the panelists, Zoom changed overnight. They had some kind of security breach, and a lot of people were kind of messing up. So now they're requiring the ID and a link. I tried to I tried to tell them, hey, why do you need a password now? But they had 269 people ahead of me. So I said, well, but I think most of the people that are coming in are have the link up. So I think we're ready to start.
Mm.
You ready to go, Ed?
So Andrea spent some time with us, and during that time, he did a couple of cystoscopies. So it was he being a resident. I'm sure his version of do it may help a lot of junior guys starting up. I mean, one of my mistakes was that I started propagating a very tough way of cystoscopy, including posterior clinoidectomy and all that. So I scared people out of it. So, but then what Parthiban from India, Roy, and what Wang has been showing is that there is no need for all these complicated procedures, and even clinoidectomy, anterior clinoidectomy is not required. You can just go ahead and do cystoscopy, even ileoquest opening, everything can be done without most of these procedures most of the time. So this is what we have to tell, and maybe people like Andrea who've seen it first and done it, and Professor Wang, his versions are important. So I'm going to show you a couple of videos which I show. These are old videos. These are not new videos. I mean, new videos, well, nowadays my consultants are mostly doing it. So if there is a problem, I go in. Otherwise, I hardly go in for cystinostomies.
Ready to start,
So-
right? Ready to start?
Yeah, we're all set to start.
Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning. It's Dr. John Bennett broadcasting from Miami, Miami Beach for Neurosurgical TV. We've had a change in instructions from Zoom. Zoom had some kind of problem, so we're a little slow starting. Now to enter the webcast, you have to enter the ID after clicking the link. So we hope that works, but we have a good turnout here, so we'll start. Let's introduce the panel briefly before we turn it over to Ike. Good day, Andrea. How are you in Italy?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm in the red zone and just working with the little neurosurgery cases that are here now because, of course, of coronavirus.
Okay.
And I have been to Nepal, to Biratnagar with Dr. Cherian for 3 months in last year. So
Okay, very
learning.
good. Welcome, Andrea. We'll come back and talk about Italy probably after. Musindo.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Go ahead, Musindo. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Indo from Mozambique. I'm a neurosurgical resident.
Okay, welcome, Musindo. Mohammed Sawar, welcome. Mohammed, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello, good evening, sir. This is
Okay,
Dr. Ahmed Sarwar.
Okay, where are you working?
Oh, I'm working in Medical Super Specialty Hospital, Kolkata.
Okay, welcome. Okay,
Thank you.
Sunil? Sunil, could you please introduce yourself? Go ahead, Sunil.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead,
Can you
Sunil.
listen? Can you listen me?
Yeah, I
Can
can't
you
see you, I
listen
can
me?
hear you. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead, just introduce yourself, please.
hello, everyone.
Okay,
My name is Sunil, and I'm a current neurosurgery resident doing in China, in Mozambique Medical City.
very good. Welcome, Sunil. Marco?
Hello, everybody. My name is Marco Meloni. I'm a consultant neurosurgeon in Gravedona, northern Italy.
Yeah, welcome. We'll talk about that later. Sugar, welcome from Peru. Hello, Sugar.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
John.
Go ahead.
My name is Sugar Hinojosa. I'm a neurosurgeon from Peru. I have been with Professor Chirian the last year for almost 4 months, and it's really nice to be back. here with
Okay,
you.
welcome back, Sugar. Okay, Roberto.
Hello to everyone, Roberto from Milano, Italy, and I am a normal medical doctor waiting to have a splendid career in neurosurgery in future. But who knows?
Okay, maybe you play the accordion later too. Gautam, welcome.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gautam. I'm from Rela Institute Medical Center from Chennai, India. I'm a consultant neurosurgeon.
Welcome. Welcome, Gautam. Joanna, could you please introduce yourself? And good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Johanna from Finland, and hopefully looking forward to amazing career among neurosurgery.
Okay, welcome, Joanna.
you.
Okay, Dr. Goy. Hello. Dr. Goy, can you hear me? Go ahead.
Hello, John.
Yeah, hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm Guo Yi from Beijing, China.
Okay, welcome. We gave a great talk yesterday. Zolo, could you please introduce yourself? Go ahead, Zolo. Perhaps. Go ahead, Zolo.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zolo Ivan, a medical student from Cameroon. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Welcome, Zolo. Okay, I can't read the Arabic. There's an Arabic. Could you please introduce yourself? Well, I can. Well, we'll get back to that. Okay, thank you very much, and it's all yours.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so now we have a scenario where a lot of people are wondering, what is cystinostomy? How can we do it? Is it easy or is it as difficult as that guy always told? So what are the uses for it? What are the criteria? So there's a lot of publications now. A lot of people are doing it. Some people are doing it their own way, but at the end of the day, it is all about opening all the systems. Now, in this scenario, I'm going to tell you only one thing. Decompressive hemicraniectomy is a 100-year-old surgery. It is more morbid to do decompressive hemicraniectomy than doing nothing. And of course, it saves lives, but it comes at a cost. And that cost, at the present day, it is not acceptable. This is all I have to say. At the present day, you cannot afford doing surgery without microscope. Any residents who say that we are training without a microscope, you guys are not equipped to do neurosurgery. Very clear. And why is that happened? Because it's a win-win situation for everybody. For the residents, they get to see the brain. For the consultant, they get to sit at home. For the industry, they get to put the largest industry in the world, the largest industry in neurosurgery, cranioplasties. That is a win-win situation. All the journals they publish because they are supported by this industry. A lot of guys who are data collectors, who doesn't do any surgery, who are not into actual skull base or vascular, and they are the big guns in trauma. And the guys who are big in skull base and vascular, they don't want to dirty their hands with trauma. I'm sorry for being so frank, but this is the scenario right now. And trauma is the biggest neurosurgical load. If in a third world country, which is 5/6 of the world's population, trauma is the biggest load. How can you say that I will not use microscope in this patient and this patient is not important while my aneurysm is important? It is not so. I operate everything. I operate skull base, vascular, and trauma. And I think each patient deserves to be treated equally. So that is my opening statement. Having said that, is cystinostomy something very, very new? Or, I mean, of course, I've been talking about it for 10 years, but is it something very new? No. When there was trauma earlier in China, as well as in India, people used to cut the tent till the CSF egressed out. It was a standard practice. People used to do even onchoectomies to find out, to see the CSF egress. It was being done. So it is not something new. There are Russian and Chinese papers, and I have met many senior people in AIIMS who has told me that they used to do it before. It was standard practice. But what we are doing is, we are going and opening all the cisterns in a tight brain, which is not very easy. I'm going to show you some videos which is scary. Okay. Now, what is the rationale behind this? You know, I started this by an accident because I mistook trauma for an ACOM aneurysm. I mean, I have told this story many times. I'm not going to repeat it, but there were two cases, and I thought the one which was a trauma, I thought was aneurysm. So I went ahead, opened the interoptic opticocarotid, searched for the aneurysm, didn't find the aneurysm, but I found that the brain had come down. That was in 2007. And that was what prompted me to think. And with my cases in 2009, I went to Cambridge and I asked for some time with the Cambridge group, and I remember presenting it to them, but they literally laughed at it. 2011 was my first guest lecture. That was almost 10 years back. It was my first guest lecture about cystonostomy in China with Goy's Institute. I remember that. But from there, things have really caught up. Now there are a lot of guys in India, in all over the world. We have people who writes to me saying that they've done cystonostomy and this is how it looks. So that was our beginnings. What is the rationale? We didn't know first because it was an accident for me. I never knew why this would work. Then we went ahead and described CSF shift edema. Dr. Garnet Sutherland from Calgary, he visited our center and they did experiments in Calgary and they proved this, CSF shift edema. This is what we are addressing. We're addressing CSF shift edema, and that is why it really doesn't work in ischemic stroke because it is a cytotoxic edema. We had tried this for ischemic strokes as well. It works for some time, but it's not as effective as for trauma or aneurysms. So what is CSF shift edema? You must understand that the CSF at the base of the brain, there is 120 ml of CSF. And this CSF is secreted by the ventricles and reaches the cistern. And it is changed almost 5 times every day. I mean, the secretion is 0.3 ml per minute. So it's almost changed 3 to 5 times every day. And what is this CSF used for? It is used for cooling and cleaning. You can look at our papers. Cooling is a separate issue, which is not aquaporin 4 dependent, which means the cooling CSF doesn't mix with the cerebral ISF. But the cleaning is aquaporin 4 dependent and happens only in the night. And that is why we must all sleep. And cleaning happens only in the night, and it is aquaporin 4 dependent, where the CSF actually is mixing with the cerebral ISF. So we have written this all up. These were hypotheses to start with. Sometimes you must understand mind is your biggest lab, okay? And you must have your ideas clear in your mind. That's why I said there's no third world. Ideas are in your mind. Mind is your biggest lab, and you just need to, then we got evidence, of course. I mean, of course, we could not do it in Nepal, Elif, Nedagard, and these people who worked on this, Clarica, all of these people who worked on this, they started getting as evidence. So cleaning and cooling is what the CSF goes into the brain for. But imagine, suddenly there is bleeding into the cisterns, and that is the most common thing in head trauma. If you have bleeding into the cisterns, what happens to the cisterns? The pressure goes up. And if the pressure goes up, there's already a pathway to get into the brain. So the Virchow-Robin spaces, and the CSF just gets driven through the Virchow-Robin spaces into all parts of the brain, and the brain gets edematous. And that is CSF shift edema. How do you address that? If you have 100 ml of CSF going into the brain, you open a 13 into 12 centimeter craniectomy. The same amount of CSF, the same volume of CSF which went into the brain comes out through the craniectomy. It's bizarre, crazy. It controls the ICP, but at a massive cost. What is the best way to do it? Go into the cisterns. Easier said than done, but get into the cisterns, open the cisterns to the atmospheric pressure, thereby abating the pressure there, wash out all the blood, and you will see that there is a shift back. There is a reversal of the CSF shift edema. And then the brain, which is under pressure, you're talking about ICP is not the correct term, intraparenchymal pressure. In an extradural hematoma, the ICP may be over 40. but the patient is not going to be hurt. The patient now, as soon as you take out the extradural hematoma, the patient is going to be completely okay. But intraparenchymal pressure is what is important. So this CSF shift edema produces high intraparenchymal pressure. So to address that, you literally what you're doing is you're squeezing the brain out of this water out of the brain by opening the cisterns and reversing the CSF shift edema. There is a reversal of gradient, and then you can see that the brain suddenly starts becoming lax. Anybody who's done that, Wang, Goi, anybody who's done that will tell you, this is dramatic. It's not something that will happen over 3 days or 4 days. The moment you open the cisterns, within 20 minutes, the brain, which was bulging out, becomes really lax. And there have been many pictures which shows that I posted so many pictures. My consultants post pictures. I mean, Wang posts pictures, Parthi, Roy, everybody posts these pictures, which shows a tight, really, really tight brain. 30 minutes later, after you've taken after you open the cistern, the brain is really lax. I'm sure you've all seen that. So we're going to show you some videos. Now, how do you do it? The procedure, I think maybe it should come from the mouth of somebody who's seen it, who's done it. Maybe Wang, Andrea. I want Goi. Goi is one of the first guys who did cystonostomy. So I want all of you to talk rather than me telling. I'm just going to share 2 videos with you, old videos. I'm not putting new videos, okay? Just old videos to show you how scary it can be and how this leap of faith is required. All right, I'm going to share this. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, this part, forget it. We are going to go into the dural opening, all right? So dural opening, you must understand, is at the base, the frontal base. So you have a frontotemporal craniotomy. The frontotemporal craniotomy, the brain is really, really tight. And I'm going to put in a stitch at the base of the frontal lobe. Okay? The frontotemporal, so that is temporal lobe, that is frontal lobe, that is the orbit there. We've gone into the base and we put a stitch there, and then we put another stitch there to pull off this dura. You will see how tight is this brain. Okay, this was done 5 years back. We're going to open the dura now. Can you see the brain now coming out? This is not as elegant as our aneurysm surgeries or anything, okay? But you must understand it's a 2.5 centimeter incision, hardly 2.5 centimeters. You're getting into the cisterns. You see the kind of pressure that I have to put to get into the cisterns? People think it's retraction injury, but believe me, it's way better than injuring the whole brain and causing herniation. So you can even take out this frontal lobe, no problem. You try not to, but push comes to shove, you can take it out, no problem, okay? That's why I'm going to show you all this. You see the amount of retraction, but the moment you reach the optic nerve, you've got to be very, 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 very gentle, okay? That frontal lobe can go. You don't need to be scared looking at that, okay? This is how it is done. Somehow with this kind of pressure, you see, it's a small opening, okay? The ICP is definitely more than 40. And once you've done that, you're taking out all that blood. Now the retraction doesn't need to be too much. You're irrigating, no bipolar. You're seeing the optic nerve there. You will see now. That is the optic nerve. That is the optic nerve. That's a carotid. Okay. So we are at very low zoom now, increasing the zoom. So you can see the carotid there, the optic nerve there. It's a very, very bad injury, okay? Very, very bad injury. You're going into the opticocarotid cistern with the suction almost at zero, just using the suction as a dissector. And you see, that's the membrane of Lilliquist. Membrane of Lilliquist being taken down slowly, and you have the basilar there. That's the basilar, okay? Took 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I'm telling you. Okay, there's bleeding, nothing to worry, just irrigate, all right? Put another patty on all 4 corners so that the blood doesn't come into your field. Because in trauma, you are bleeding from everywhere. You know, the brain starts, see, the brain is already pulsatile now. You're going after it again, okay? Once you get this stage, the brain is pulsatile now. Now you can open the dura. Now you're just irrigating this. The brain is nicely pulsatile. And now you can go ahead and open this whole dura, okay? The brain is not going to come out on your face, okay? So you're going to take that off and then going for completing the cystonostomy again, all right? I want you to see this because I want you to see how bad this can be. I mean, all the cases are not this bad, but people tell me, oh, you haven't shown real brain edema. And if you can't see more, I mean, you cannot see more brain edema than this. You saw the brain coming out there, okay? So you see, you're completing that cystonostomy, gently going on top of, now using the the regulative suction. So I'm going in there, bleeding is much less. It's beautiful because the ICP comes down, the venous bleeding stops. This is something that we have observed all the time. There's no need for bipolar. The ICP comes down, the venous bleeding stops. It's very, very strange. Maybe somebody should write an article on this. And you see the brain now? See, this is really damaged brain. Can you see CSF filling up? There's no irrigation there. That's CSF filling up. You take it out, and it will fill up again. So you're going to the basilar there. That's a opticocarotid window. That's the basilar artery. Going to the opposite third nerve. Patient has got tachycardia. You can see now. You're putting in a drain there. And you see, how's the brain? Completely lax. Damaged, but completely lax. You do a decompressive, this brain will be on your face. Okay? Another very, very tight cystonostomy. You will see how this brain is now. Same technique. Brain is already coming out. (2.5 to 3 centimeter). See? Severe edema. See at the end of the procedure, see how the brain is. Same incision. Lax, pulsatile. Cisterns are open. 2.5 centimeter incision, and that's it. So I'm going to stop sharing, and anybody wants to ask any questions, you guys can ask. Otherwise, I'd ask Guo Yi, Andrea, Wang, everybody to talk about their experience. Anybody who wants to ask questions, you're very welcome to ask.
I have a question, Ike.
Please, please.
I saw you put a cisternal drainage at the end of aspiration. How do you manage in the post-operative time the drainage?
Yeah, we drain about 180 to 250 ml every day from the cisternal drain, and we keep it for 5 days. So after 5 days, we remove the drain, and by that time, this patient is usually extubated.
Okay, thank you. And if I can take the advantage, another question. The cisternotomy is the only etiology is traumatic, or also brain edema caused by vascular accident or stroke can be cared by cisternostomy?
Yeah, I mean, my experience on ischemic stroke has not been very good. But for ICH, if there is an ICH, we open the cisterns and the brain gets lax. So transylvian transylvian evacuation of ICH is much, much better after doing a cisternal opening. Brain becomes much laxer. But for ischemic strokes, our experience has not been so great. I hope it changes too. But for me, ischemic stroke doesn't really. Because 12 or 13 patients that we did, majority we had to go and open again in the night, 1 day or 2 days later. So ischemic stroke, I don't know whether it works very well. I mean, I don't have much of an experience with that. But of course, ICH, before we started an endoscopic evacuation, what we used to do was we used to open the cisterns, and brain would be very lax, and then we go transylvian, very small transylvian, and then go and take it out.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
I have a question. I feel a bit shy of making this question because it's like a student question and not an operative one. Anyway, which are the symptoms of this patient, and how much time do they have before of passing away?
Well, these are trauma patients who has features of raised ICP, and there are some scan features by which you can actually decide whether you need to go in or not. World Neurosurgery has an article about cisternostomy. Can you get me that article? I will show you this article. Maybe you can go ahead and download it. And then this has the criteria for cisternostomy. This is first authored by Wang. So can you see this article?
No.
Wang, can you share this article, please? This is the article. Huh. Yeah, this is the article. This is the article. So it says cisternostomy, a timely intervention in moderate to severe traumatic brain injuries, rationale, indications, and prospects. So Sugar, Gleb, Wang, everybody is part of these articles. So you can go download it, and you can, whatever questions that you ask, the answer would be there.
Thank you.
I got a question. And have you met a situation like this? If you drain too much CSF during the surgery or after the surgery, and the brain will swell too much, and the basal systems disappeared, and the patient status decreased. Have you met?
Absolutely. So Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to take out the bloody CSF out. But once the CSF starts getting clearer, you want to increase the height of this bag to almost 15 centimeter. What you want to do is you want to drain out so the first day, all the bloody CSF is going to come out and it's going to start clearing. It will not be completely clear, but it will be starting to clear. And at this time, you have to start increasing the height of the bag. And if you don't do that, as you said, the brain is going to look very, I mean, on the first postoperative day, it's characteristic that the brain looks really edematous, but there is nothing to worry. It is our experience of over 10 years. Our experience is that after the first day of cystonostomy, the brain is going to look really edematous. Okay, but this patient is going to be M5 or M4 or really improved. You really don't have to worry. And then the second day onwards, CSF is going to start clearing. That is the time when you have to start raising the bag. All this needs to be written up, and I'm sure Wang would have noticed this too. So Parthiban also has told me about this, that we cannot overdrain. If you overdrain, this is going to do more harm than actually not draining.
How do you control the CSF drain during the surgery? Was the CSF always comes out all the time?
So the thing to do is a lot of irrigation. So you're going to fill up whatever CSF is coming out. You're going to irrigate, and then only, even when you're closing, you are irrigating actually. Irrigating. So when you have normal saline, maybe we should think about CSF substitutes, something like CSF substitutes of normal saline. Maybe this is one area of research that I'm very interested in right now, instead of just normal saline or ringer lactate or something which is a CSF substitute should be used for irrigation to clear it out. So maybe this is a good option. I don't know about artificial CSF, but this is what we use. We use to irrigate normal saline, so that over drainage is not really a problem.
Well, I have a general question. You're essentially changing the standard of care. You're trying to change the standard of care in neurosurgery, right? And it's very difficult. I mean, you've had to go through a long period of arguing and talking about it, and people don't want to change because they have ways of doing things. How do you handle that? How do you handle the stress of you got to stay strong and keep going forward?
Yeah, John, the thing is, for the last 10 years, I have changed too. In the beginning, I thought, why are people not understanding? It's bloody common sense. And when I started getting mocked at, and I'm sure my friends have seen all this. So in the beginning, 10 years back, I was also very young, and I was also fiery. So, I mean, and we used to have a lot of fights, and many neurosurgeons used to avoid me. So, but then what I thought is, if you can make the difference to just one patient's life, it's worth everything, all the fights and the stress and everything is worth it. One patient's life, if it can be changed from being a complete idiot and I've seen these decompressive patients all my residency time and my first year of consultancy. I've seen a lot of them. You can say they are alive, that's it. Okay. So when I saw the results with cystonostomy, I thought that whatever happens, everybody told me, you're very well trained skull base and vascular surgeon. Why don't you make a name with that? Why don't you go ahead and talk about your aneurysms and your skull base cases? Why should you dirty your hands with trauma? Why do you want to be called a trauma surgeon? But you must understand that trauma is the biggest caseload in our part of the world. In 5/6 of the world, it's the biggest caseload. We cannot ignore it. We have ignored it for 100 years now. And if we ignore it now, it will go on for another 1,000 years more, because every other advancements will come, but not in trauma. This is the attitude now. So somebody has to stand up for it. And I decided to stand up for it, and I got support from very unexpected quarters. For example, I remember Guo Yi, I remember Nikolai Piv, I remember Roy, I remember Wang, all these people, Parthiban, all these people slowly came on, and then, we had a last Beijing conference, we had a complete session for Sister Osmi. Wang made it possible, but you see, from where it was, I was from where Cambridge people laughed at me. From there, we have come to a stage where we could, if we want, we could laugh at them now. So I don't want to laugh at anybody, but the point is, one patient changed. One patient's life changed is worth all this. So that is what, I'm not stressed or anything. Of course, I've gone through a lot. I remember people sitting and laughing at me, people making jokes about me, people, in WhatsApp groups, people attacking me, saying that this is nonsense. I see that still. But the whole point is, we see a lot of changes, okay? And we are not only saving patients, we are making patients better. And that's what matters. At the end, this is our profession, and our job is to make patients better. And we have to do it.
Very good.
Thank you, Art. Thank you.
Wang, would you like to take over? Would you like to take over, please? You
yes.
show something from yours. Maybe Gauri can talk, and maybe if Andrea is here, then he can talk. Sugar,
I have done this surgery for 3 years. And I think it's a great surgery for our neurosurgery doctor, especially for our residents surgery, because this surgery take the brain trauma into a microsurgery. So it's better our residents training. And this surgery, in my experience, not only in brain trauma, and brain hemorrhage, aneurysm, and brain infarction, it's very useful. Sometimes when we have some skull-based tumor, we can use cystoscopy. So if we have the cystoscopy, we can make the brain relax. So it's very useful for our surgery procedure. So actually, I think we should write some more papers about cystoscopy and collect some clinical data and published. Let more and more neurosurgery doctor learn about and training the surgery procedure. At the last year, I have a meeting in Pakistan. Dr. Tak said the first stage, vascular surgery first stage is cystoscopy. So when the residents have cystoscopy, then done the vascular surgery. It's very, very useful. So when we do cystoscopy, we familiar with the skull-based anatomy is very important. Recently, I have one patient, two patients, because the patient pupil dilation for 12 hours. The brain ICP is very high. So at this time, we can cut the temporal lobe and let CSF out. It's very useful. At this time in our operation, we can relax. We can let the brain relax, but because the pupil dilation is long time after surgery, the patient is not good. But I think it's useful when we leave the CSF out. So if we have not cystoscopy surgery, this patient maybe died more early. So we should use this use it and do some practice and have collect some experience. Thank you.
If you're muted, let me unmute you. You're muted. Go ahead.
Goi Sugar, who has seen this procedure, who's done this procedure, please go ahead and share your experience, please.
Yeah, I have performed this procedure for about 10 years. At first, in 2010, the first time I knew this procedure, this technique from Ike, and I invited him to my department to present this technique. And then I performed it by myself in many patients, in many cases, like TBI. And now in my center here, we seldom have TBI patients, so I performed it in intracranial hemorrhage hematoma patients. After remove the hematoma, I performed the cystonostomy, and I think the results are very well, and so even in the brain herniation patients, I did not do the craniectomy and put the bone flap back, and the patients recovered very well, and we seldom use mannitol after the surgery because the CSF, the drainage is very useful. And I think this technique included two steps. So the first step is open the basal cisterns widely during the surgery, and it is very useful to lax the brain during the surgery. And the key step for this technique is put a drain in the basal cisterns and drain about 3 to 5 days post-operative. Maybe in some case you can prolong the drain for about 7 days, and it is very useful for reduce the post-operative swelling. And I think this technique is not only open the basal cisterns during the surgery, and the drain is also a key step. That's my experience.
Yes, absolutely.
Professor, in all of these years, what have been the complication that you can see after surgery? I mean, in the long term.
For cystonostomy, we found that the amount of hydrocephalus is almost 1/3 to 1/5 compared to DZ, decompressive hemicraniectomy. But then, of course, in the beginning stage, you can create damage to vessels, especially. I mean, we've had one incident in over 1,000 cases. We've had an incident where we have a torn decomb from the IC. Okay, so we had to clip it off. We had to clip off the IC, and we could not suture it because it was at a very awkward angle. So we've seen this happen. We have seen in patients with sinus bleeding, this is not a good option. Okay, If the subdural is because of a sinus bleed, it's not a good option because the bleed recollects. So that is one thing. In the beginning stage, when we used to put ventricular drains and we were not very careful, we saw a lot of ventriculitis and infections, but now we're very, very careful. And so this doesn't happen anymore. We have seen contusions increase in size after cystonostomy, but unless the cisterns are again closed, we don't take these patients up for resurgery again. But if this is another thing that we've seen with contusions blooming. It's not very common, but we have seen this happen. And of course, if there is ischemia, which means if the patient has had ischemia already, it's not going to really help. So finally, it will be converted to a DC, but that is very, very less. I mean, that's, I would say probably about, 1/10 or maybe less than that of these patients can go into DC because of already pre-existing ischemia.
I couldn't give it. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, John.
Go ahead.
What I want to say that I want to emphasize one thing is this technique is very, very useful, and I saw too much even senior neurosurgeons attending neurosurgeons to do the TBI surgery after the craniotomy. They open the dura widely, and then the brain swell out, and that's a very awkward time. And but if you just like I've showed in the video, if you just cut a small opening of the dura along the base, the skull base, and then perform the cystonostomy the first, and then the surgery, the following procedure will be okay. And but I think this is a technique. It's not a magic, and it can rescue many patients and reduce the mortality largely, but it cannot save all of the patients. So this is what I want to emphasize, because many people doubt this technique. They thought this technique can rescue all of the patients, even the patients a very severe situation.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Sir. Hello.
Yes, Rahul.
Go ahead, Rahul.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Extension to Dr. Goi's question. Is it necessary that cystonostomy should be performed at the first stage of the surgery? In case of a thick SDH, if I have a thick SDH, it's a nice mass effect and midline shape, should I concentrate first on removing the SDH and then moving to the cisterns and opening it out? Or is it always that it has to be done first?
If it is a thick, good SDH, this is the best case to start with. If you have a large SDH, so you can do a large dural opening, take out the SDH as much as it comes out, go into the base, open this, because the brain is going to be, after you take out the SDH, the brain is going to relax. So usually you're going to do an decompressive for this after, you're not going to put your bone flap back. So instead of that, go into the cisterns, find out the optic nerve, find out, open the optic-carotid cistern, wash out all the blood, take out the rest of the SDH, put your bone flap back. Best case scenario.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Yeah. What's the approximate breakdown as far as countries? What countries do the most cysternostomies, would you say?
Well, now India has probably overtaken Nepal. India, China is soon overtaking Nepal as well because Wang and Goi are spreading it in China, and Parthiban has done a very good job of spreading it in India. And many people taking it up in India as well. So I guess India, China, Nepal, in that order. And then, of course, there are many, many random centers all over the world which has started it. And I'm sure it's a matter of just 4 or 5 years before we will have a rapid change in the way trauma is looked at. And I think all these guys not doing surgery, just collecting data and talking about statistics, they're going to go out of this scene. I mean, just like in skull base, they've gone out, like in vascular, they've gone out. These guys who are just talking statistics is going to go out from trauma. We're going to have surgeons, trauma surgeons, proper trauma surgeons, not trauma surgeons. Okay, so those guys are going to be out. So this is their last stand, and they're trying their level best. They have, of course, they have. I've seen them in all stages laughing at us, and then trying to take us seriously, but then trying to ignore us. All that stages I've seen. So 5 years, we're predicting that only the junior boys are going to be doing excellent skull base and vascular work. That's what we want, and they would be doing cystinostomy without any problems. So it's going to completely change the healthcare scenario. I mean, neurosurgery scenario, and imagine the impact of it, because the largest case scenario in neurosurgery.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you listen me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Sunil.
Hello, sir. Sir, I want to ask one question. Like, is this cystinostomy is going to reduce the craniectomy in TBI?
Beg your pardon?
I mean, like, this cystinostomy is going to reduce the craniectomy in TBI. Craniectomy.
It is going to abolish it completely, not reduce it. It's going to abolish it completely, Sunil.
Yeah, this is what I want to ask.
Professor Ibe, concerning to the anterior clinodectomy that we used to do it before opening the dura, I think one useful trick is to see the bone window in the CT scan to see how big can be the clinoid in each patient. Last month I was with Professor Lawton, and in 3 of their surgeries, they have really big clinoids. So even to make the vascular surgery, it was a problem. And he realized when he was under already into the surgery. So maybe anterior clinodectomy is a good. I personally think that it's a good procedure, especially if you do it extradurally, because you gain practice and you can do it quickly even. So maybe that kind of trick, seeing the bone window before the surgery, even in TVI, can predict us if we're gonna need it to do it before. So only to get more space and be easier for us.
Yeah, we see, Lawton is primarily a vascular surgeon. I'm primarily a skull-based surgeon who does vascular. So clinoidectomy is not reduced. You've seen how we do clinoidectomy. So, clinoid is not really something which is very worrying for us. I mean, of course, for the vascular surgeons who do it intradurally, yes, clinoid can be sometimes worrisome, but you've seen me doing clinoidectomies and even in paraclinoids, aneurysms which are literally touching the clinoid. We do it extradurally with our technique of orbitomeningeal band dissection and complete extradural clinoidectomy. It's how much ever big the clinoid is. Sometimes, yes, in GH adenomas, whenever GH adenomas are there, I go and see this clinoid. Sometimes they are so bloody huge and they can be really problematic. So, but otherwise, well, clinoids are not, of course, I have a look at them if I need to, but most of the time these days we don't do clinoidectomies for just lateral clinoidectomies, if at all, for cystonostomy. Most of the time my consultants are doing it. But I'm glad that you were with Lawton and then you have seen this technique and you thinking in this way. I'm very glad.
Thank you, Professor.
Any more comments, questions? You know, when I first met you, I thought you remind me, I played sports, and the sports at games, they'll have what they call hecklers in the stands, in the crowd that will be yelling at the players. And of course, a good athlete doesn't listen to them. He just plays the game and goes on. That's what you remind me of.
Thank you, John.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for coming. I guess there's new instructions now for Zoom. You have to click on the link and put the meeting number in. They changed the system because there was a security breach or something, but thanks everybody for coming, and we'll end this and stick around, we'll chat. Thank you.
Yeah, see you guys. I'm in the hospital right now, so we have an ACOM coming in sometime soon, so I'll be off. Thank you very much, guys. See you soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Hello.
Thank you very
Professor
much.
Cherry.
Hello.
Does someone have
Professor
something?
Cherry?
Go ahead.
Cherry, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
Oh yeah, just know I think my phone is popular. No, can you hear me? Oh
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Professor, we had to do the surgeries from the 2 years ago. At that time, the Professor Wang Yonghu, Professor Wang used to tell me this theory. I think is the 2018. At that time, we had tried to do these surgeries, including the TBI, the big ischemic, and some the hemorrhages. I want to have a question about the use, and I want to know, do you have tried to the ischemic the patient? Maybe sometimes the big errors ischemic because the ICP is very high, and so at that time we must do the decompress craniotomy.
Yeah. I would probably combine it with the decompressive because the edema in ischemic stroke is cytotoxic, and you must understand that the characteristic time that these brains swell up is after 48 hours, So they don't swell up immediately, so they swell up after 48 hours. So cytotoxic edema. So if the brain is really swollen up, you can use it just to reduce pressure to closure, but I would always advise decompressive. But I don't have much experience.
Oh yes.
I have experience.
I don't know.
Yes, because several days ago, and I see revenues about this technical on the side. That is the paper's side, because the ischemic and will do the brain's swelling or the edema. So if we can drain the CSF from the brain and from the sister, and so the ICP will control like that. I think maybe yes. I think these two these surgeries for the TBIs and have the similar stand to the ischemic, because and two clinic the patients have the same results sometimes because the ICP is very high, and we do the sister hysterectomy and is to control the ICP.
Yeah, but the mechanisms in both these cases, I mean, you can ask Wang to help you to share our paper on CSF shift edema. We've written this paper on CSF shift edema. Also, I would advise you to read up our paper on cleaning and cooling of the brain. You can just Google it. You can get this paper. So you can just type cleaning and cooling of the brain, and me and Hira has written an article about cleaning and cooling. So these papers are going to give you a basic idea about what is CSF shift edema compared to what is a cytotoxic edema. A cytotoxic edema is something that you really, I really don't know. I don't know the answer whether cystonostomy can address it, but I think not. But maybe there is some other things. I really don't know. So maybe it is for you guys to find out now.
Dr. Chair, I can show you my case. I have a case. I can okay. Let's show.
Okay. Thank you.
And
start recording again.
Okay, guys. So Wang, Goi, brother, everybody, I will leave now. I will carry on. Wang, if you want to continue on with the discussion for some more time,
that would be great. Go ahead. Keep rolling.
I will show you my case.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
This
Hello,
case
hello.
is brain trauma, male, 44 years old, and brain herniation. These two pupils dilation for 4 hours, and the pupil is 6 millimeter. GCS is 4, E1, V1, M2. And this is his CT scan. And the patient is very serious. At the left epidural hematoma. And firstly, I do the epidural surgery. Then I do the right brain hemorrhage. And this is my video. At this patient, ICP is very high. At this time, we cannot open the temporal lobe or front lobe and get the CSF out. At this time, we should depression in temporal side. At this, you see this brain is very tight and ICP is very high. At this time, we cannot open the CSF and let CSF out. And what should we do at this time? Because this patient has temporal hematoma, so I cut the dura in temporal lobe. At this time, the hematoma is out because depression. At this time, at CS, more and more CSF left out. At this time, the ICP is reduced down. You see? A lot of CSF is come out. And then we can complete the cystostomy. If we could not use this method, we cannot open the dura of the temporal dura. We cannot let CSF out. At this time, we should complete cystostomy. Because sometimes if the ICP is very high, this is a method. We can cut the temporal lobe. At this time, we can easily do cystostomy. At this time, because CSF come out at ICP is low. At this time, we can wash out and open the lily crystal. Optic dome. Because this patient pupil dilation, the optic dome at the carotid space is very narrow. So we open the cut the lily crystal between the third dome to carotid space. Then we can drain it. Put the tube. This patient I drained for 7 days. At this time, the brain is very relaxed. Yeah. This is the second day. The CT scan. At for 1 week, use vesiculation. And then after 1 week, the patient can follow, let the figure move. Yeah, let 2 figures move. This is 2 weeks. This is 2 weeks. The patient can speak. Others 3 months follow. MRS score is 4. So I think this at this time we can use temporal lobe, temporal side depression. And if the patient have not hematoma, we can cut the temporal lobe, and then let the CSF come out. That's all. Thank you. John?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wang, very good.
Okay, very good, Wang.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm going to make 2 videos, Wang. So we have 2 for the price of 1. I'm going to cut your video separately. Okay. Anybody have any comments? Let me get you off the screen share, Wang.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So regarding cystostomy, so I'm a resident in India, so our center is going to use that. So, sir, I'm Shiryan, sir. So, regarding placement of drain, so we just put a infant tube kind of a thing and coming out, or can we use the EVD kind of thing? So, something more about drain placement in this cystonostomy.
Sorry, you speak too quickly.
The drain placement in cystonostomy, how we are going to do that?
Do you understand, Young Hung, that?
Sorry.
Could you speak slowly, sir? I think he's having a hard time
I got a
understanding.
question. He's asking about the drain placement of, drain placement in cystonostomy. So we opened the membrane of Lily quest. First, we opened the opticocarotid cistern, and then the membrane of Lily quest, and then place the drain into the prepondine cistern, and keep that drain for about 5 days, sometimes up to 7 days. The drain will drain about 200 to 350 ml. So that is very important. The drain that we use is infant feeding tube number 8. Many people use many things, but we use infant feeding tube number 8. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. That's it.
More comments, questions? Okay, well, I have something to show you guys. Now everyone realizes, right? It's different getting into Zoom now. So let me just show you something. And Wang, you're there, right? Are you there, Wang? Hello, Wang, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, hi, you there? Okay, I have a question, okay? Let me. Okay. Are you mad at me because I didn't make your picture as big as Ipes?
Okay.
Is your picture? Are you mad at me because I didn't make your picture as big as Ipe? I don't know if the joke translates cultures, but it didn't seem to get a big response. Okay, fall flat. Okay, so how's everybody? How are things, Wang, in China? How are things with Corona?
In China, Corona is controlled. So we work usually we can do surgery at everybody. Every people can do their work here normally.
Oh, okay. So you do regular surgery, not just emergency.
Yes.
All types of surgery.
Yes.
Okay. Sugar, are you still there?
Yes, John.
Yeah. How's it going in Peru with the Corona? What's the status of things?
We're trying to flat the curve. The government has taken a lot of restriction to the people. Now we can only go out, males we can go out like Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays.
Okay.
And women only Thursdays. Yeah, it's like one day off for each one. Sundays we cannot go out of our homes, and the quarantine has extended for 2 more weeks. So, but still in the hospitals, we are providing ER care for patients. I mean, the quantity of patients has diminished in the matter that there is no traffic accidents because there is nobody going out.
No
But
driving.
still, there is always people that fell from the second floor to the first, to the third, to the first. So we're still doing surgery. So yes.
Well, you know, in Miami, I'm surprised that people just aren't leaving their houses and driving. I think here people are so scared because they saw pictures of those refrigerated trucks in New York, and that scared people. I think that because I can't believe people are actually complying and staying indoors. I'm surprised. But so how about other parts of the world here? Eminata, how are things in your part of the world?
In Namibia, we have 14 cases. It's been a drip. Of note, we have a small population here, around 2 million. And one of the larger fatalities, a family of 6 who died trying to flee the lockdown in the city area, trying to go to the countryside. So over the weekend, there was a funeral for the 6 people who passed away from the car accident, besides the 14 cases.
So indirectly, Corona did it.
Yes.
How about other panelists from different parts of the world? Rahul, Lewis, you can weigh in on what's going on in your part of the world. Dr. Manzer.
What we in Kerala, like all the cases.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there like Wang Lao Si? Wang Lao Si 在吗？喂。
Yeah.
王老师，我有一个问题，我有一个这个估计老师，他要这个问这个 cystostomy 说，然后你可以介绍一点这个在中文，他的英语这个太好，但是我想如果你说这个中文，他可以明白。
讲中文。
对，他 you speak 王永红。你好，王老师。
所以让你讲中文了，王老师。
讲中文。
没错。你好，我想您认为这个脑池造瘘术的话，能不能够取代这种去骨斑作用呢？
我的现在正在做这个工作，而且大部分的病人都可以把骨斑复回去。因为现在我觉得现在的咱们在国内的，尤其是去骨斑减压有点太过。那么如果脑池造瘘的话，我们大部分的骨斑，90%的骨斑不需要去的。因为我去年腊月做过一个手术，那么这个病人是一个外伤，GCS 是10分啊，11分的样子。我的病人我们要在正的我们做那个做颅压监护的时候，这个病人的颅压是30个毫米汞柱。那么这样的时候，那么这个病人没有脑受伤，就是一个颅压高。那么如果这样的话，如果按咱们传统的手术，那就去骨斑减压给他叶幕扩大成型。那么但是有这个脑池造瘘的时候，我就给他做了个脑池造瘘，就是单纯做了个脑池造瘘。做了脑池造瘘以后，释放脑液，然后颅压下来，然后我就回去关颅回去镇静1个礼拜拔管。这样的话，这个病人就没有需要去骨斑减压。而且我现在有将近10几例的病人，都有就是在30毫米汞柱以上的病人就没有进行去骨斑减压，因为这些病人没有脑疝，因为我们就没有去骨斑，现在也状况非常好。因此就是我现在下一步因为有骨斑复位的手术，我们要通过医院的伦理，要通过这样的一个程序，然后让家属同意签字，然后我们就做这样的手术。就是在当然太高的病人，脑疝时间长，如果颅压很高的这些病人，是像目前来讲超过60毫米汞柱，我是好多病人没有活下来。去年有一个病人在术中达到80毫米汞柱。那么因为这个病人活下来的，我觉得原因是就是因为我们病房他脑疝的，就这个时间短，在术中他的颅压上到80个毫米汞柱。那么这样80毫米汞柱在之前的经验中是没有活下来。那么这个病人手术以后呼吸停了1个礼拜，经过我们的上呼吸机啊、镇静镇痛这些手段，那么后来病人呼吸回来，因为有脑池造瘘，这个颅压一直不高，一直在这个10几到20，不到20的样子，14、15的样子。那么这样的话，这个病人后来活下来，经过康复以后，他这个病人也因为非常感激，还基本的生活可以维持，他还和我们可以吃饭啊，一起请我们吃饭以后可以进行简单的交流。那么他在家里面的生活，就因为他是现在不敢外面去，他可以家里简单的生活是可以基本上自理的。 因此这个手术我们可以好多的病人，尤其是现在比较重的病人，有这个手术的可以转化成轻的，因为有这个手术可以把病人的疗效能提高。原来可能有可能要经过咱们原来的办法，可能要这个病人活不下来。那么有这个脑池走路可能让这个病人能活下来。那么有一部分病人可以减少去骨斑减压，这是我的经验。因为很多的病人由于目前和咱们治疗规范的相抵触因此他的这个骨斑我们最后还是去掉了。事实上去掉是多余的，应该是给它复回去。因此而且就刚才我讲的这个病例，事实上他刷测通过是3大。这个病人的硬膜我基本上原位缝回去了，按说这个病人骨斑是可以复回去的。那么这个病人后来手术以后的压力一点也不高因此这就是刷测通过3大已经4个小时，这样的病人就硬膜原位缝回去，他仍然不会出现这样的问题。因此这样的话就是说这个手术我们因为有脑积液的释放，脑积液的引流术后的引流，这样的话就是说这个对于病人的颅压的控制是非常非常好的因此我觉得这是一个很好的手术，大家需要在临床上去直接的去体会、去应用，然后总结一些经验然后再做一些推广，然后规范。这有时候规范这个，因为怎么做，有些人可能实际上我们就进行一些培训就是颅压不同的颅压，不同的病人的轻重的程度，会采取不同的手段。就刚才切主任说这个颅压很高的情况下，就是颞叶的切除。我现在做了好多的病人，颞叶切除就把颞中环、颞下环切掉以后暴露环池，那么这个时候环池的脑积液能出来切的口子颞膜不要太大，就是我们在显微镜下底下，这样的话就环池的脑积液出来以后，我们就可以进行一个颅压的降低，然后再进行一个脑池走路，可以完成的好多一部分病人经过这些手段还可以活下来的先这样。
我想问王永红教授一个问题。我想问一下，您那儿对于那个急诊手术病人，他在 ICU 时间待长以后，这个气管切开的指征是怎么把握的？
如果是昏迷病人，因为经过一般的外伤在7分以下的病人，这病人昏迷，手术以后3、2天醒不来，我们估计这样的病人基本上都有手术后第2天、第3天，我们就可以气管切开。因为这样的病人时间长，这个气管插管一直插管，这样的话对他的气道是不好的。这样的话，早期气管切开对于咱们的护理，对于病人肺部的管理，这样是很有帮助的。这样的话，就是说对于病人后期的这个预防他肺部的感染也有好处的。如果有些病人，但是还有一部分病人就是这个做了脑池造瘘，有些病人虽然是昏迷，GCI 是在7分以下，在8分以下，这样的话就是有些病人经过我们脑池造瘘以后，镇静上，那么有时候1周，有时候3、5天。这样的话，就是这个病人拔掉吃了镇静的药以后，那么这个病人就醒来了，醒来不但管我拔掉也没事，不需要气管切开了。这样的话，就是说有一些病人，因为这个手术可能对于病人的苏醒和恢复有帮助。这样的话，有一些病人就可以免去气管切开了。
好的，谢谢王主任。
谢谢。
Okay, very good. Yeah, any conference or webinar you want to televise, Young Hong, in Chinese, just let me know. Okay, just let me know. Okay, no, I in the future, if you want to do one, just tell me. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to include this. I'm going to include this in your video.
谢主任，你总结一下你的经验吧。
然后我上一次跟那个Dr. 教授说了这个事儿了，我把我那个东西给整理一下，下一次咱们开的时候我看能不能。
你可以和他微信联系。
我跟他微信联系。
Oh, you know, we have China Grand Rounds next Saturday. Can someone present at 9 o'clock China time? Okay, Young Hong? Next week, Saturday.
Saturday.
Yes, for Chinese Grand Rounds in Chinese.
Okay.
Okay, 9 o'clock. we need a presenter for next week, okay? So if you guys want to do a presentation, 1, 2, whatever, but just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, thanks everyone.
Dr. John, me
Yes.
and Rahul me and Rahul from India, from Kerala. Okay,
Yes.
so our regarding Corona status over here, we are 1 week more to go to complete the lockdown status. So anyway, some day by day, some diseases are diagnosed day by day, but some few deaths and all, but it's fairly under control. Our government is doing some good job over here. So
Okay, which part of India are you from, Dr. Manzo?
Kerala, Cochin.
Oh,
Cochin.
Kerala, that's where I'm from, right?
Kerala. Yeah, me and Rahul from Kerala. We are doing residency in the same hospital, so we are doing listening all this webinar every day, learning lots of things every day. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, you know, India, I hope it doesn't hit hard there.
India,
Man.
from India, Kerala.
Yeah,
Cochin. Cochin, you know Cochin? Cochin.
I've heard of it. Do they expect it to, how are things generally in India? Does it look like it's going to be a disaster like America?
No, not like that. In Kerala, it is well under control, and day by day, few even some odd numbers of diseases are diagnosed in that sort. But in some northern part of India, some problems are there. But government is trying to under control that. That not like any community spread is not happened yet. So
We'll keep our fingers crossed from America too. New York is still pretty bad. But I think the cases went down for the first time yesterday. I think they went down, the number of dead. So hopefully.
But the problem is that when we are stopping the lockdown, when releasing the lockdown, then the problem starts. We don't know how it is going to contage all these problems.
Okay, so
it's
even
will happen.
Yeah.
So we have to be, the government has to be more clever about that, how to release the lockdown. Otherwise, there will not be any use at all what we have done till now.
Yeah, it was so important to obey the protocols of separation and washing. These basic things seemed, the countries that did that early seemed to be doing the best, including Vietnam, which is next to China. They had they immediately back in February, they closed schools in Vietnam. And we didn't do that. I don't think many countries did. It didn't take it that seriously or didn't expect it. But Vietnam has a very low rate.
Step by step only. Step by step only we can release the lockdown. So then only it will help. Otherwise, there is no use because people will be bombarding from each side when we immediately release this lockdown. So that is the problem. That will create more issues than what we earned till now.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll hope things work out, but things look improving in Italy, China. I mean, that gives us hope, the rest of the world, to see that there's recovery. So that is definitely a plus. Now, Rahul, you asked me about what I'd be speaking tomorrow. He didn't say. Usually he'll let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll let me know. And you're on the mailing list now. I put your email in there.
Yeah. Today
So
I couldn't connect for the initial 45 minutes. I had a tough time for connecting.
Yeah, because
the ID got changed. No, the ID got changed.
Yeah. Well, Zoom changed. You know, what happened was there was a big security breach.
Okay.
A lot of people went into, they hacked and went into conferences and messed them up. It didn't happen to me, but it happened to, and Zoom changed overnight without telling anybody. They didn't tell me that you needed a password, because I've never used a password before. And then all of a sudden, everyone's writing to me saying, hey, what's the password? So, and then I got the password, but it was too late. So yesterday, we didn't have many people. We had a good crowd, but not too many people.
No, the ID got changed. I think that was not intimated. I think the ID, initial ID, the ones did you mention in the Gmail?
Okay.
In the mail, I think the number has changed. The ID number then Manchu shared with me. Then it's a different ID number. So that's why it was not connecting.
Well, I tried to talk to administration of Zoom.
Yeah,
They,
yeah.
they said there's 269 people ahead of you.
Okay.
So I wasn't
Okay.
gonna stand in line. I'm not crazy.
Okay.
So I said,
Okay.
well, I'll see what happens. And
Okay.
of course, they finally, it's a big story in the New York Times. I mean, a big
Yeah.
story talking about it. And the owner of the company, he's from Taiwan, he was good about it. He says, look, we made a mistake. I'm sorry, we're
Okay.
gonna fix it. He didn't make excuses about that. He says, no, we made a mistake. So we're gonna try to fix it.
Okay,
And
fine.
I'm pretty sure
Mm.
they'll fix it. They'll get things
Okay.
straightened away. So
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
I'll let you guys know it'll be on my Facebook page, of course, the Neurosurgeon
Okay,
TV.
fine, fine.
It's
Mm.
all the news there. That's where it goes first, is Facebook.
Facebook.
And I know you
Okay.
Chinese guys don't get that. I'll try to
Mm.
post it on WeChat. I usually post it on WeChat. I have one computer, Wang, dedicated to WeChat. And it goes boop boop. When I get a message, it goes boop 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 boop.
Dr. John, I waited for 3 days to get into your friendship list, you to accept my friend request.
It took
Oh man.
3 days you took to accept my friendship with Dr. John.
Oh, okay. Okay. When you Indian guys speak, man, I have a hard time understanding. I have a hard time. I really have to. It's like a foreign language, but it's English. But nothing wrong with it. I just have to get used to it. That's all. But anyways, it's good to see the Indians here. It's good to see the Chinese and the Africans. This is great.
Yeah, that's the highlight of the this webinar. I could find a lot of people from different parts of country. That's really and we are made to interact each other. I think those are the highlights of this webinar
Oh,
compared to
yeah.
other common. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. I really enjoy them. This is my most enjoyable time in medicine right now.
Okay, fine.
Because I do these. I love them.
You conduct webinars only on this, like for the neurosurgery only, or anything
No,
else?
I have yes. For now,
John, you're associated with neurosurgery only now.
No, I'm not a nurse. Yeah, just mostly.
I know.
Mostly, but let me show you what I'm going to do. Really, what I plan to do because of what happened with the corona. Corona is creating a really unusual setting for education, obviously, because people are at home so much. I don't remember this ever happening, and I want to do it in the rest of medicine, essentially. As you see here, internetmedicine.com, connecting medical communities with Zoom.
Okay.
And have all the specialties, anesthesia.
Okay.
Yeah, like each specialty has a studio. As you can see here, here's a studio. That gentleman, he's a Stanford University professor.
Okay.
So they're starting to come on now. So I think in all areas of medicine, we have a few.
That's good.
Yeah. So because in America and then on television now, it's becoming part of our culture. When you say Zoom, people are starting to know what you mean. They Zoom.
Okay.
Like yesterday, do you know the movie star Samuel Jackson?
Yes.
Okay, he was on television a couple of nights ago, and Jimmy Kimmel was asking him, well, how are you going to get a hold of me, Samuel? And he says, I'll Zoom you. I'll Zoom you.
Okay.
So it's becoming a verb in the English language. I'll Zoom you. I mean, that is valuable. That's valuable for a company to have your brand name in people's language. I'll Zoom you. That means I'll video call you.
Understand.
See you. Yeah, this shows the incredible distance this company has come, and a lot of it's because of this corona lately. Correct. People know what it is. Like schools are using it. And people are using it, movie stars are using it, and when they talk about it, everyone listens. They don't listen to doctors as much as movie stars.
That's
If
funny.
if a movie star gave a patient instructions, they would listen. Sometimes they listen to the doctor, but they would listen all the time to a movie star.
So Zoom
What do you
technology
think?
is from where, basically?
I'm sorry?
Zoom
Taiwan,
technology is
Taiwan.
from where,
It's a
basically?
Taiwan-based company. I think.
Yeah, it's a Taiwan CEO.
Okay,
I don't know. I think he's an American. I'm not sure where he is. But he's a Taiwan CEO.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's a interesting company. Well, there was a webinar company. Google used to do webinars with something called Google Hangout. That's the first one I saw. Really good. It was good.
Okay.
But Google really didn't take care of it. They didn't improve it. And they really had no customer. If you had a question, you couldn't ask anybody because Google is too big to answer questions. But they just kind of let it go. And so then Zoom came and everyone said, hey, these guys are improving it. They're working on it. They're answering my questions. You know, he knew that they needed a video platform. Mr. Wang, his name, I don't know if he's related to you, Wang. But he's
How is Trump doing?
How is who?
Trump, Donald Trump.
Well,
do you agree with his decision? I don't.
Well, thank goodness we have a government that watches each other. In other words, if there's one section of government that maybe doesn't do something that makes sense, they have another part of government that says, "Oh, wait a minute, you can't."
Sir, what do you feel?
Thank goodness there are other parts of the government saying, "Hey, wait a minute,
You
Mr.
can't take
Trump.
a single.
You can't do that, Mr. Trump," because in New York, he kind of downplayed the danger. Everything's under control. And
he was trying to take out the lockdown.
The doctors are saying to him, Anthony Fauci, who, by the way, fought against AIDS back when that was a problem, said, I think, who knows what happened behind the doors when the doors were closed. But I think he said to him, look, you either do this or I'm going to go to the press and tell them that I recommended and you didn't listen to me. So I think they made him. They made him because of good people up there. The doctor.
So what do you feel that? So
I'm
what
sorry?
do you feel that what went wrong in the United States regarding Corona? What went wrong? Why this hype increasing the cases? So where it went wrong? What do you feel?
Well, I think
what could have been done.
I think measures like staying away from people and washing your hands a lot, hygienic type of reasons.
Why government was not put forward?
Well, I don't think government knew. I don't think most governments in the world. It's not just the United States. There are a lot of governments in the world that underestimated it.
But that time, different part of the world, it was increasing, the cases are increasing, but we have to learn from some other country and we have to implement that.
Like learn from Vietnam, learn from
Germany.
Germany too is very low.
In the pandemic, there is always a preparatory phase. So if we implement good things in that preparatory phase, will not harm anything much. So we get a nice result from that. So that was not happened over there, I think.
In Japan, that was low too?
In Japan, it is low, Japan,
they were very strict.
Singapore,
I imagine.
Japan, Singapore, they are contained nicely, I think. Even India is doing well. I think India, for the given population, I think it is done wonderful. I think we are even in Kerala still. The whole state has a more than 6 crore population. Still, we have only one death and only around 2,000. Some 300 cases only positive cases.
Okay.
That's fair enough. I think the government is doing well.
Well, it's funny. It's funny. There's not much humor in these times, but but there was the head of a country, I think it's called Burundi in Africa. They have zero cases of corona, and so they interviewed him, and they asked him, "Oh, Your Highness, how did you manage to have zero cases?" And he says, "Sir, it's very easy. We do not test."
They don't have having the kit to that is the
We
problem.
do not test. That's why we have no cases.
No cases.
Oh, that was funny. So, okay, I gotta go. You guys,
Okay.
hope to see you tomorrow.
Okay, fine, fine.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Ciao, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, John.
Okay, thank you.